everybody. Good morning. And then, I have this challenge. You have to understand, I have a challenge. I challenge myself to say hello to each of you individually before it starts, if I can. And my fingers are typing. I'm not even looking at the spelling. So if I've called you by a different name because the letters aren't right, my apologies. And I missed it. At the very last second, I got Rhonda, and then Daryl popped in, and Susan popped in, and Angela popped in. And Allie popped in. So I failed. I failed again. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It's coffee time. For my coffee mug today, don't laugh, but I have a travel mug with me, currently caffeinating, which is exactly what I am doing. We're busy packing, obviously. So it's going to start. In fact, it might even sound a bit more echoey because there's some things that are out of the house. As I look around me, there's some things that are already packed up and moved on. But yeah, we have coffee mugs in the cabinet, but most of them have been packed up. So I have these travel ones that I always keep as a little standby. And so this is kind of what we're having our coffee out of. So cheers to you. I'm currently caffeinating. All right. So what'd you do this weekend? What did I do this weekend? Oh, actually, my son-in-law flew in to help pack another pod. So we have another pod. Pod number 2 is filled. So just so you know, as we talk about real estate, as we talk about the perils of moving and packing and purging and, moving from one place to the other, whether it's just around the corner or whether it's across the country or if it's just, 30 minutes away, whatever the case is, I'm currently going through that too. So I always tell people I feel your pain and I share your joy because it really is kind of a mixture of both, isn't it? So I'll tell you some of my perils of packing. Oh, the dogs every Monday. I don't know what they do, but it just drives me bonkers. Girls, I need you to stop. It's coffee time. Dogs for sale. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I love them all. They're just very wound up. In fact, you know what? I have to tell you, frustration is that the pool guy. Okay, so first of all, very grateful that we have a pool company that comes and does weekly service. Grateful. But seriously, at 7 a.m. on a Monday, that's not their day. That's not their time. It used to be on Thursdays. Then they changed it to Wednesdays. Then it just randomly would be any day of the week. And this morning, it's like 7 a.m. The guy is out front. The dogs are barking because there's somebody in the backyard. And as you can see from our sliders, you can see when the pool guy is here. And so, and it's always a different person here recently. Anyway, so frustration. So anyway, that's okay. I'm going to move forward. So anyway, the weekend. So my son-in-law flew in to assist with the movers. We always hire the muscle, right? We use pods. We have done, I think it was like Mayflower. We did one of the big, moving companies when we first moved here from Virginia to Florida. That was the only experience I've ever had with a big moving company. And it was fine. It was great. It was lovely. No issues. It was just very difficult to get people to come and tell me how it works and give us a quote and all that. But we got here. But every other time we've used pods because it was just a simple, quick move, whether it was from our first house here in Winter Garden to the one we're in now, whether it was my daughter moving from one place in Winter Garden to another. But we also did a move with pods for my oldest from Texas to Virginia. That was our first experience with a bigger move where they had to really carry that pod container to another state. So anyway, so we have a pod. So my son-in-law Hung came in and he helped supervise and did some of the heavy hauling as well. We hired 4 guys and one of them didn't show up. And so Hung kind of stepped in and they helped. I have to tell you, when you get good movers, when you get good muscle who've done this before, their game of Tetris with boxes and furniture in a pod is unparalleled. So that was really good. So that was kind of what my weekend was. I still worked. I still had appointments. I have an appointment today. Lots of stuff going on. But at any rate, it was a busy weekend. It's always hard to mix work with the practicality of moving because when I'm moving, it's like shorts, t-shirt, sweating, dripping, hair pulled back, like total hot mess. And then you have to go meet a client and it's like, oh, let's like slap on something so that it's not horrifying. But anyway, that was my weekend. What did you do? Hope you had a good one. And on to my coffee. All right, let's talk about our brewing topics. I have my glasses that are going to be on my eyeballs. Let's see what we can do for our brewing. Okay, I didn't freak out this time. I didn't freak out this time. Okay, so just a couple of things as you guys were chatting in there. And again, Susan, I missed saying typing a happy or good morning to you. Oh, Sarah and Maddie are watching too. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Maddie. Daryl is here. Yes, Daryl. Daryl is I love you, Daryl. Angela, I think I said good morning to you, but maybe I didn't. So, Angela, good morning. Anybody else? Kathleen, Mrs. Florida Man, good morning. John, even though we're not planning on moving right now, we went and viewed some homes in a Dream Finders development. We listed you as our agent, so now we have that covered for the future. Yes, sir. Yes, you do. I will tell you, Dream Finders is a great builder when it comes to that. There are some builders that are a little wonky about that, but thank you for being proactive and thinking that through. Oh my goodness. All right. So we've got 56 Strine. Good. From Levi Stadium. I think that's so cool, by the way. Leg cramps woke you up this morning. Well, that's not exciting. Pam said you guys did a lot of planting flowers and shrubs. You know what? What a great weekend to do that. It was kind of hot though, but pretty good. And then Melody says she is moving too, just a plot of land in my son's property, but a move is a move. A move is a move, my friend. It is still a lot. Now, I don't know where you're going to put your belongings if it's just vacant land, but a move is a move is a move. And then Amy asked if I can take the puppies to where I'm moving. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I'm taking my puppies. I joke. There's a lot right now because remember we have, excuse me, we have my dogs plus my 2 grand pups. So there's just a little bit more canine energy in the house than there normally is. And one of mine, Daisy, she's still kind of puppy mode, I guess. So she just gets really excited. But Jane says, am I moving out soon? Yeah, pretty soon. The home is sold. It is under contract. We are through appraisal. We are through inspection. So we're just ticking the days down to closing and moving out. And I'll fill you in on all those details. But yes, remember, I'm not going anywhere. Just it'll be a different background here shortly. Jim, moving cost us nearly $25,000 from Boston to Florida. Okay, I'm speechless. That's you know what? That's an amount that people don't really have the money to budget for, right? That's hard. That's really rough. Oh my gosh. I don't remember how much it cost us to move from Virginia. I think, excuse me, I think Eric got some sort of a relocation package, minimum, but something is better than nothing. But wow, that's a lot. That's more than I thought. Okay. All right. Iris popped in. Laura, did I say good morning to you yet? I'm not sure. She says she's cleaning out closets and drawers. We will use the VA pod company will bring as little as possible when we move. You know what? I bet you're right. I bet, someone who does this all the time and knows how to do it, probably knows don't take what you don't need, make it minimal and streamline the process for you. Jim, plus he had to ship 5 cars. Yeah, Jim, I forgot about that. I forgot you had vehicles that you had to ship. So, all right. Okay, perfect. I'm going to move on. Let's go to the, where am I go? Here we go. All right. So the third party evaluations, DDD, it's a triple D, and help on the horizon. So these are our topics for today. So the first one is third party evaluations. So a lot of times, and this can be really frustrating for everyone, for a buyer, for a seller, for a realtor, for a listing agent, for a buying agent, for anybody in the world that is looking in real estate when they're looking at these third-party sites. And when I say a third-party site, I'm saying third-party, which is outside of the MLS, the multiple listing service. That is what realtors use. This is our be-all, end-all. This is where the true transactions take place. When you have an agent involved, this is where the information is entered. It is where it is confirmed. It is where it is noted as pending. It is where it is noted as sold and what those terms were. That comes from us, the licensed realtor. By the way, we're not just random people who walk around in high heels. That's not what we do. There is a lot of work that goes into this. And so the MLS is the main source. So I always tell people, think about it. The MLS is the main source. That is where realtors are going to get their information. It's where they're going to get their comps, because we can see things in the MLS sometimes that you're not going to see on a third-party site. For instance, we can see potentially that, I'm so sorry, I'm like choking up this morning. We can see that a home may have closed. Let's say that they were asking $700 for it. Let's just say it closed at $700. But what we can see is that there was a $20,000 or $25,000 seller concession to the buyer for closing costs or whatever. That happens a lot with new construction, so you really have to be able to look and dig deep. That is not something that the average person is necessarily going to know if they just see that a home sold for something. If your neighbor buys a home and you're like, oh, whatever, they got X amount for it, you're like, wow, that's great. Well, did they tell you that they gave, $20,000, $30,000 in a concession, 10,000 or no concession? Sometimes there's no concession. So the third party site, which is what the topic is about, is referencing those third party sites like Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. These are really, I say they are good websites in the sense of information gathering and for exploring and having fun. If you want to dabble and take an idea, a little gander at what, the homes around you might look like, what they might be selling for, if you want to look at what their listing price is, if you want to get an inside scoop and look at their photos, fine. Go ahead, explore. You can explore the area. There's a lot of great information on the third-party sites. You can click things. It tells you what the schools are. You can click things, and it tells you about what's nearby. It can tell you about crime. It can tell you all these different things on those third-party websites that, candidly, sometimes as realtors, we're not allowed to talk about some of those things. But here's the problem. Those third-party sites are big engines. They're just big engines. It's not a real human on the ground that knows the difference between this community and this community, or this zip code and that zip code, or the builder that is building on the back side of that community that the big engine third-party algorithm doesn't understand exists. So you cannot put all of your faith into their estimate. The Zestimate is nothing more than an estimate, and it is based on data. Sure, but sometimes that data doesn't have all of the information. Like it might pull data that a realtor would not be using. And I say this because I have one of those situations today. I have a listing appointment a little bit later, and the Zestimate, the algorithms are showing one thing, but what those algorithms are showing is it's taking comps from nearby communities as opposed to the most recent one that sold literally just a couple houses down that is going to be the newest and the best comp, and it is going to be the one that an appraiser is going to use. And I know this. Why? Because I just sold my house and I had it priced well, but it was still priced pretty high because it's a gorgeous home. And when I had to talk to the appraiser about, literally on the phone call before he even came out here, he's like, oh, I don't know. I can't find any comps to support that. So sometimes it's kind of important to pay attention to the facts. And sometimes you have to pull because, for instance, there were no homes like mine unless we went a little bit further, right? But when you have one in the neighborhood, that's your best comp. If there was another one of my floor plans in my neighborhood that either was on the market or had just sold or was currently pending, that would be the best comp. And that would be the one that we need to watch and we need to pay attention to. And that would be more probable to be dictating appraisal than picking a community that's 3 miles down the road, right? And we have to think not so much as an appraiser, because I'm not a licensed appraiser. I will not ever claim to be. But we do pay attention and work with appraisers all the time. So we get some inside scoop onto kind of some of the things that they have to do and some of the challenges that they have. Appraisers are not bad people. They're here ultimately to protect everyone. But sometimes it can be a little bit wonky when an appraiser is not a realtor and a realtor is not an appraiser. So we kind of have to work together. Anyway, point is, these third-party websites like homes.com, realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, like any of these places, use them to gather information. Use them to look at houses maybe in your neighborhood or to get an idea of what the price point might be. Let's just say in your heart you want to move to Winter Garden, Florida. You want to be in Disney's backyard, right? Just saying. Then it's fine. Go ahead and look and try to find homes that are in that area to get a feel for what that price point looks like. Maybe it's that you need X amount of square footage and you want to see how much is that going to cost you. Or maybe you have a finite budget and you're like, I only have $624,000 that I can use to buy my house. What can I get in Winter Garden, Horizon West, Disney's backyard for $624,000? So you can do that information gathering on those websites. But I promise you, when you are ready to go, whether it is to sell your property or whether it is to purchase a property, let your realtor be your guide. Let them, hopefully they know what they're doing and they work in your area and they have a good understanding of that market. And let them be the ones to advise you on, you know what, I know your Zestimate says you're, this number, but the data says you're this number. And it's not the same data that we're using. And this is why. And and by the way, it's not always bad news. Sometimes it's good news. But sometimes even as a buyer agent, if you are really ready to start looking for reals, y'all, if you're looking to purchase for real, get your realtor on board to set you up on a property search through the MLS. And then that way you're getting that information immediately as soon as it goes active or as soon as something goes pending or as soon as, unfortunately, something's sold. You'll get some of that information to know if there's a new home that pops up that's going to meet your criteria so that you can have in real time and in real numbers without being skewed one way or the other. And then let your realtor kind of be your guide on that. So anyway, it just felt like I needed to say that because there's a lot of people that that put a lot of trust in those. They're like, well, that's what it says. And I will say, sometimes they're correct. I've had people where I'm like, you know what, this estimate was kind of it was on target this time. And I've had it where it's like, they have really undervalued your home. Most of the time, they've really overvalued your home. They're getting better, but they're not perfect. So, you use your licensed real estate agent to assist you through that process. Let them be your guide. Let them give you the proof. Let them give you the data. Let them give you the guidance to make sure that you're both buying a property or listing a property appropriately. Okay, moving on. Any questions there? I didn't see you guys moving over here. Were you just so enthralled with the conversation? No, they say nope. Grateful Drifter, good morning from sunny London. It's sunny in London today. That's awesome. Sally Amati. Oh, good morning. I love seeing your Facebook post, Sally. All right, let's go to the second brewing topic was the triple D, DDD. And you know what? It kind of goes in line with what I was just talking about with those third-party sites. The DDD, and this is just me. This is me being goofy. For me, it stands for don't dispute the data. And it goes in line with what we were just talking about, the third-party sites and algorithms. An algorithm is sometimes a little bit different than having that hard data and looking at it from multiple angles. And again, I say this, maybe I'm just mentally giving myself a therapy session right now for what I have to go through later this afternoon. Not that it's a bad thing. It's just, I don't ever like to be the bearer of bad news, right? I'm happy. I'm generally a happy person. I mean, my life is kind of a total mess. Lost your husband. So it's kind of, it's kind of a hot mess. But generally, happy person. I'm optimistic. I'm bright. I'll think about, the good things. But I don't like to have to share with someone that the value may not be exactly what they were hoping or expecting. And I've had to do this a couple times here recently. And it can be a challenge because I don't ever want to upset anybody. It's your home, it's your possession, it's your largest purchase you've ever made in most cases. And sometimes when you see a neighbor has their home listed at X amount, you just automatically think, well, gosh, they're selling for that. Then they must be guided well. Maybe they are. Maybe your house is going to be worth that or more. But it's also possible that that person is overpricing their home and there's no data to support it. Data is real. Eric and I always said that doing a home valuation is part art and part science. And the science is the data. It's the cold, hard facts and figures. The art part of it is knowing that, hey, but did you know that there's a road going back behind that community? Hey, did you know that there's going to be a new beautiful park that's going to be over there? So it's going to be gorgeous and walking distance right there from the house, but still protected. So it's still private location for the home, but super close to this beautiful nature park. There's things that the art part of it can tie in to help contribute. Hopefully it's always contributing to the value of the property, but sometimes it can be a negative. Sometimes you buy a home and it's a beautiful home and you've got this big wooded backyard and it's gorgeous. And then all of a sudden you realize that, well, you don't own that land, excuse me, that's back behind you. And then all of a sudden there's new construction that starts happening back behind you, and all those trees that you thought you had start getting cut down. And now that beautiful tree line buffer that you had that went on for days now goes on for minutes, and your view is completely changed, and that can be a detriment. So it's important to know those things. That's the data. The data matters, so don't dispute the data. And then I promise, artistically speaking, we're gonna get you as high as we can possibly get you. I have to stop saying we because it's me. Actually, is it? All right, so let's move on. Let me go on to the next one. Again, I keep seeing you guys. Aw, you're a happy and strong woman. I don't know about that. You know, I don't know about that, but I appreciate you thinking that. Allie, apologize. I didn't even think about that. Apologies for any animal sound music in the background. He's enjoying some of his new Mimi toys. Yeah, I bought him something the other day just to, because I mean, poor guy. He's like stuck in his little, I call it jail. We call it jail because it's like the playpen of our day when we were older, except now it's this big fenced in area so he can kind of play safely, but that's funny. But yeah, he is. You hear elephants over there. That's why. That's so funny. Okay. All right. The last thing is help is on the horizon. What do I mean by that? Well,
help is on the way, dear. Mrs. Doubtfire, help is on the way.
All right. I am so excited to very soon introduce you to my new partner here at Heart and Home Orlando. Her name is Leslie Ortego, and I have to tell you, I'm so stinking excited. When I had my dance studio, sorry, it just comes and goes randomly. I'm so sorry. When I left Virginia and I had my dance studio, I knew that it was going to be a good hands. I'm not leaving. Okay. First of all, don't read into that statement. Don't read into that statement. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Don't read into that statement. But when I did move from Virginia, I had to close my studio, or make arrangements for it. And I had Miss Michelle, who I had raised through the studio. So she knew everything. She knew the way we taught. She knew the curriculum. She knew my heart. She knew the production that I wanted. She knew everything. So being able to have her come in and be a teacher was fantastic. So she was teaching with me for years and years and years and years and years and years. So don't read into anything. She was teaching with me for a long time, beside me, learning everything, gradually giving her more and more responsibility. And Michelle now has a thriving studio that she's carried on. So since I left, we transferred, my students went to her, and everything was fantastic. But, obviously Eric did a lot. He did a lot more than, honestly, than I probably even realized, because he did so much computer work. He did so much of the production part of it that Allie has very, very, I can't think of the word. She's taken over it, and she's done a fantastic job. I can't think of the word. But there's still a lot of those little details. So I need help. I need extra hands. I just do. And so I'm very excited because Leslie was one of my clients, y'all. She found me just like you guys did. She and her husband moved here years ago. And so they found me through the videos. They came out, we looked at homes. We actually I believe we went to Miller's Ale House once after one of the walkthroughs, and we don't ever go out to eat. Like, we just don't. Eric and I didn't, but we felt a very real connection with them from the very beginning. And just interestingly, Leslie reached out a while back and said she was getting her license, and, we connected, and I was like, okay, so yeah. So I have some extra hands now, and I am super excited. Leslie is phenomenal. She's wonderful. She is incredibly similar to me. And that's, always been one of the hardest things, is trying to find, and I don't think people get it. I mean, I think people that get it, but I think the vast majority of business people don't get it. They're like, it's business, you delegate, you hand off, you just oversee this, that person does that, boom, 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 boom. That is not me. It's not the way I work. I work from here. My heart goes first. I love you. And it's not a transaction to me. And it is so difficult to find a realtor that feels the same way, or that's not so personally ambitious that they want to reach a milestone that they're like, no, I just want to help people. Like, I just want to help people. Like, if this is something I can do, then I would love to be able to help people. So, so Leslie and I talked for a long, long, long time. We've done lots of conversations together. In fact, I'm going to see her this afternoon. And pretty soon I'm gonna introduce you to her. But Leslie's gonna be my helping hand. So, still working. I'm not going anywhere. Do not read into this. I swear, do not read into this. I am still here, but Leslie's going to be with me. She's going to help out. So that way, if I've got issues, we'll be listing partners on some of the listings. That way, if I'm over here and something needs to happen over here, I've always prided myself truly in being quick to respond and accessible if you need me. But I can't always be, because I do have things going on. I do have clients. That's one of the benefits about being successful, right? About being busy, is that I'm busy. I have clients. I've got to help you. I've got to coordinate this. This morning, the text message from another agent who's out of the country 6 hours ahead of us on vacation, but my clients are submitting an offer, and then I had it all done, and I hurried and got it to him last night before we boarded the plane. But then this morning they had some changes. So I'm scrambling trying to get all this done before coffee time. I'm still working and I'm still busy. So it sure would be nice to have some extra hands to say, hey, could you go remember to do this? Or could you type up this addendum and get it sent? Or could you follow up with the title company and check on ABC Street? Things like that, just to help decompress everything a little bit. So I'm really excited for you to meet her. You're going to love her. But I'm still here. I am not going anywhere. So just make sure you know that. Anyway, so help us on the way. Whew, I feel better. Okay, let's move on. All right, so let's see. What are, yay. Oh, look, everyone. Oh, look, Leslie, everybody loves you. Okay, good. Please look at Gina Bandido's question. Gina, would you be able to send a few lenders to be approved? Do you know if there will be any new builds in the 300s? It depends on where, Gina. So first of all, yes, absolutely. Of course. I've got several lenders that I use all the time. I typically provide 3 to my clients. There's a PDF that I have that I'll send out. First of all, if you're looking, text me 407-848-8042. I'll pop that up here in a minute. Text me and I will send you, the wish list link if you're looking for something, and then we can kind of determine. Once you get that, you get the whole packet of working with Amy, and it'll have some lenders in there, some information for you to find a lender that feels good to you. And then as far as anything in the 300s, that's really, really, really tough around here. There might potentially be either little villas or townhouses, maybe in the 300s, a bit further out, but not right here where I am. But yes, in places that I work, yes. It's just that we have to open up that cone and that area search. But yeah, so just text me 407-848-8042, and I'll send you that information. Okay, perfect. Let me go back over here. Okay, so everyone is saying welcome to Leslie. Everyone is saying welcome. Everyone is saying welcome. It's Leslie for any of you, because it's so funny. You're all spelling it Ley. That's so cute. I'm like, I don't think I've ever known anyone that spelled it that way. But anyway, Laura got it. She's like, is it Leslie or Leslie? It's Leslie, Leslie. Anyway, so we're super excited that Leslie's going to be a part of this. She's just a doll. I love her immensely and trust her completely. And for anyone that may be going, well, part of why we go to Amy is because, she's been doing this and she knows things and she has a lot of information to share. I'm still here. I'm still negotiating things. I'm still doing everything. It's just, I'm going to have those extra hands and an extra person to assist. And just like with Miss Michelle, as she may be doing more and more as she learns more and more, as she has more and more experience, but she's going to be under Miss Amy's tutelage. So, oh, good. Don't you worry. Here's the thing. For those of you that know me, for those of you that have been out with me looking at homes or have had a phone conversation with me, I tell every single person that when we are looking for homes, that I treat and I feel that each one of you is family. And I cannot steer you to or from a builder, an area, a location, a house, a home. I can't do that. Ethically, I'm not allowed to do that. And I am a rule follower, so I'm not going to do that. But what I would tell you is that I will treat you like you are my family. And when we're looking at homes, anything that we see, you know, is if there's things that are on our list, or, you know, am I okay if that's my family living there? Of course, or we wouldn't be looking at it. Now, if there's something you want to see that, again, is not necessarily something, I'm still going to show it to you because I'm a rule follower. The point is, I treat you like you're my family, and I know that Leslie has that same heart, and she comes from the same place, and so I think that that's really the most important thing, is to find somebody that that feels like they're gonna you know, do things the way you want them to be done. So anyway, all right, moving on. We have so much to talk about. Everyone, oh my gosh, I love it. Love. Okay, so let me move on to a couple things. I've got so many different things that Oh wait, wait. I want to go. Let's go to wishes. Okay, so we have a couple of wishes today. I actually was going to add one more, but because we had to change our offer, I don't know that I'll get the good news in time. But Alan and Amy were so excited that one of our listings finally went pending. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes with listings. So congratulations to them. That's removed their contingency, and now they are able to move on and move forward and move out of state. That is one of those situations where they were building new construction out of state. And the builder did allow, they were building from dirt. The builder did allow them to have a home to sell contingency, but there's usually a time limit that is put on those. And so we were really kind of looking at the clock going, oh, we got to get this thing under contract. And we did. It went under contract. We're super excited about that. Joanne and Alan were super, and yes, you're like, haven't I seen those names before? Yeah, you have. You have. Joanne and Alan, they are selling a house and they are buying a house. So they closed on the new home that they are buying, and now their townhome is on the market. We will also talk about that one coming up here in a minute. And then Ernest and Teresa, super excited for them. They are purchasing a new construction home with K. Hovnanian. Very excited. And their house is actually going on the market today. So lots of fun things happening. Lots of listings coming up too. So we have a lot going on. So on that note, let's just go to listings. Okay, so the current listing. So we have this beautiful, the first one that you see is the new one that's going up. Penny, really? The first one is a lovely one-story just going on the market today. This is in Winter Garden. It's in Horizon West. This is a great location. Rockwell Homes is the builder. My clients purchased this when they first moved here from out of state, and it is a beautiful one-story, 4-bedroom, 3-bath home. So that is on the market as of today. The Davenport home with the pool is another good one. Yes, you've seen that for a while. We have a lot of foot traffic. We lowered the price on that one, and it's just been bombarded with listing or with foot traffic. That is a good sign. Now, what that means, guys, is it means that it was priced too high to begin with. It didn't look like it was, but the market tells us, and sometimes it tells us things that we don't want to know. Sometimes it does, but now we're getting a lot of traffic. We actually have somebody working with a lender to try to get ready to move forward on that one. The Hawksmoor one-story, woohoo, yay, ding, 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 went under contract. So excited about that. We have a Winter Garden one-story, the beautiful Ashby floor plan in Lakeview Preserve, gated section within a gated community, absolutely gorgeous. We have a very similar home, different builder, different floor plan, different area, out in Kissimmee, and Kindred is still on the market. We have the Groveland one-story also on the market, and then we also have Davenport two-story. This is a different one than the one you saw a little while ago. I know, there's a lot of listings right now. The Silverleaf Bungalow under contract. I think we just showed that one for the first time last week. We have the 55 plus Villa, the one on the left in Kissimmee. And we have a Hawksmoor townhome that just is going on the market as well. I think that one's going on the market tomorrow. It is the end unit. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I think I'm okay. Do you hear the elephant back there? Oh my gosh, that's cracking me up. The Hawksmoor townhome. So this is an end unit townhome. Guys, this townhome is beautiful. So if you are looking for something that is smaller, townhome type home, and you want to be in Disney's backyard, you want it maybe to be your own private vacation home, maybe you want to make it your primary residence. This is residential. It is not short-term rental, so you cannot use it as an Airbnb, but you can use it as an investment property if you want to do a full year lease at a time. But what's really beautiful about this is that the fact that it's on a corner, beside it are some more townhomes, but then there's some space back behind it. So it's not like just plopped in the middle of a gazillion townhouses. It also has a beautiful built-in fireplace that they just added. It has a detached garage. So it's another one, another good home. And I have another one coming up on the market very soon, which is another 55 plus villa, this time in Del Webb Oasis. So that one's going to be coming up soon. So keep your eye out for that one. So lots going on, lots of stuff happening. So here's the thing. When you see these listings popping up, it's busy. It's very, very busy. I always say I'm grateful to be busy, but it is very busy. If you are looking to sell your home, if you're looking to buy a home, everyone says summertime is the right time. Well, yeah, it is. But the thing that we have to remember here is that not that schools dictate everybody's timeline, fully aware of that. But a lot of people that are moving do have to keep that as a consideration in their process. And so when our schools start in August, as opposed to after Labor Day in September, it butts up, it jumps forward our busy time. So even though our kids, I think the schools get out next week here. I think they'll be out of school next week officially, whereas in Virginia and some of the other states, they don't get out until, earlier in the middle of June. We're out a month earlier. So things are super busy here because there are people here that are moving because they're like, okay, end of the school year, boom, we're going to get out. We got to move, even if we're just moving in the same area. They're moving. And people that are trying to move here are looking. So it's very busy. Now, I don't know what it looks like where you are. Maybe it's super slow. Maybe it's even busier. But I will say it's pretty busy here. Now, that means there's a lot of foot traffic. There's a lot of activity. But there's also a lot of inventory. And so, as one of my listings and I've had several listings that are still on the market. There are some head scratchers, and they were not priced high to begin with. They weren't. The data told us what was going on. But people tell us a different story sometimes. And so with one of the listings we've done, it's funny because the seller will reach out. He's like, another 5. Drop another 5. And I love it because he's like, we're not getting it. Let's just go. Let's go. So this last time he says, let's just drop it 10. And I understand, fully aware, not everybody has the ability to just drop and drop and drop and drop. And I don't like to have to drop and drop and drop and drop. But sometimes for a specific property, it's what you need to do. I think we have found that threshold because there were 3 last minute showings just yesterday. And there have just been consistent foot traffic in that home. Now that it is an absolutely extremely good value, people are like, oh, okay. Because remember, people have to think about their money. They have to think about their budget. They have to think about the interest rate. Not everyone has cash to purchase a home. So some people are doing their mortgage and that changes their buying ability. And so it's important to kind of note that just because we know that the comps kind of support it, are those comps selling? Did they sell quickly? Is there a lot of activity happening? And the answer sometimes is unfortunately no. We have a lot of new construction here, and it is a really big competitor with the average homeowner who is trying to sell. It is very difficult to compete with them when they have deep pockets and they're locking in at interest rates and giving you all of the closing cost incentives or taking X amount flex cash that you can use off the price of your home. Or to options and upgrades if you're building. So there's a lot of things that we have to compete with. So don't get down in the dumps if you happen to be somebody that's got a home that's listed and it's still on the market. We just, it's the nature of the market. It's the nature of the foot traffic. And it is the magical missing piece that none of us can control. And that is who is the buyer that is looking for your home. All we can do is let them know that your home exists and get them out there. And I promise, some of them sell super duper duper fast. Some of them take a little bit longer, and it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with any of them. All right, let's move on. Let's see. I see some little scrolling over here. Rose, yes, Rose, yes. Exciting for us at the Pulte Design Center. Yes, any tips? Okay, Rose, yes, ma'am. I am so excited for you. I can't stand it. Okay, so tips at the Design Center for anyone and everyone when you go to a design center. First of all, your design consultant does not work on commission. People, I have heard, fear going to the design center because they feel like they're going to be upsold on everything. That's not the case. That's not how they make their money. Their job is simply to help show you the options, help you coordinate, give you some ideas, or most importantly, help your vision and your dream of your home come true while still keeping you within your budget. That's their goal. And I've never met a design center consultant that has not been a lovely person. So my tips for you, Rose, is if you do have a budget, to make sure that you kind of communicate that. If you have an idea in mind of what you want the vibe to feel like, do you want modern? Do you want contemporary? Do you want classic, traditional? Do you want farmhouse? What's that vibe look like and feel like to you? Because that's the best starting off point. And it's always the kitchen. Go off the kitchen. Do you know what your kitchen is going to look like? Do you know what that piece, that centerpiece of your home is going to be? That's usually where you're going to go first because everything kind of stems from there. So for budget purposes, Rose, cabinets, counters, flooring. Those are your three biggies. Focus your time, your attention, and your money there. Then you can add things like the lighting fixtures. Your house comes with lighting fixtures in the main areas. It may not come in the bedroom, but you'll have a half-hot switch that you can add a lamp. You can swap out fixtures later. The house comes with faucets. You can swap out the faucets later. And this is if your budget starts to get a little bit, in trouble, right? If your budget's in trouble, just focus on cabinets, counters, flooring. Get those elements in your home so that they're done by the builder. They're done properly. You don't have to rip them out. Because remember, when you start renovating a brand new house that you just purchased, ripping out cabinets or ripping out counters or replacing flooring, you're avoiding warranties left and right. So think about that before you do it. Focus your money, cabinets, counters, flooring, then do the secondary finishes and fixtures. Backsplash is another one. I would do cabinets, counters, flooring, backsplash. But you can add backsplash later if you need to, and that won't be a big deal. Hardware on the cabinets, I always like the builder to do it because it's super quick and easy. But if it's something you want to do, you can add that later. But yeah, lots of, first of all, it's going to be really overwhelming, and there's going to be things that you weren't thinking about, like comfort height toilets, vanities, higher or lower. Do you want crown trim at the top of your cabinets that you may have thought, well, doesn't it come with that? Not always. Things like that. So if you want, Rose, give me a call and we can chat through some other specifics, but I'm really excited for you. That's always a fun one. Super, super, super fun to go to the design center. Can be super stressful. Take some Tylenol before you go and stay hydrated, my friend. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. Hi, Geraint is here. Good morning. We're so glad to see you. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And Pam said the same thing. Pick out your floors, cabinets, and counters first. That's it. You guys are listening. I love it. Perfect. And then they found that the builder charges way more for certain items and we could just purchase much less expensive and do it ourselves. Yes. So you just have to decide, back to Rose's question, you just have to decide what is, depending on you, right? Depending on your life, like, for me, I don't have a husband now, right? So there are certain things that I'm like, oh, Eric could just do that. Eric could just do that. Eric could just we could just do that later. Eric can hang fixtures. We can do that. I don't have that anymore. So I'm going to have to pay somebody. I don't have anybody that can do that. So, and again, this is just a hypothetical situation. But this is why you apply this to you. And what is your situation? If I don't have that person in my life that I can rely on, maybe I've got a son, maybe I've got a son-in-law, maybe I've got a neighbor, maybe I've got a good friend. Maybe I have a tall friend like Daryl who can come and hang some pendant lights for me. Just kidding. But if I have to pay an electrician to do it, then I may as well pay the builder to do it because then they've done it with their electrician and now that's all kind of bundled in. Now, if it's that they don't include the ceiling fans or the ceiling fans that they have at the design center are hideous, which is often the case, that's kind of a given. But if I want some of those secondary fixtures, ceiling fans, or add lights in certain rooms, chandelier, sometimes the builder stuff is overpriced. But sometimes I do the math and I'm like, well, if this ceiling fan costs this from the builder and I can get it over at Lowe's for this, but then I can't hang it up myself. So you just have to determine what is most important to you. But budget-wise, cabinet, counter, flooring, absolutely the three big ticket items. Focus your time, attention, and money there, and then the rest will fall into place. All right. Daryl, I'll never forget when we went to the design center. Amy and Eric told us to take off work because it's going to be a lot of fun. Amy arranged for us to get an incentive, so it was a blast. Aw, thank you, Daryl. Yeah, it was. It really is fun when you go to the design center. It really is. Because you're picking out your house. It can be stressful because, like I said, you see that number kind of going up and up and up. this is your included. That means it comes with the cost of your house. And if you want to upgrade at one level, that's an extra, $2,000. And if you want to upgrade it again, it's an extra, $800. And you're like, it just adds up. And that's just for one thing. So it starts to add up. So that's why I always tell my clients, when you are building a house, you need to plan for, and again, this percentage keeps changing, but I always tell people to plan for about 15% of the base price of the house at the design center. Some people are like, that's just way too much. And I'm like, well, you haven't been to your own design center. Like a builder might say, no, usually it's like 10%. And I'm like, have you been to your design center? Because that's not the case. Most people are putting anywhere between 12 and 15% into their home, sometimes even more depending on the square footage. But when you're looking, you have to allow for that in your budget, especially if it's new construction, which, by the way, nod to some of the builders, is why some of them do those packages or collections, trying to help take some of that guesswork out of that process for you. And say, look, we have package A, B, C, and D, and then in package A, it's going to cost this much, and there's these few things that you can swap around and change if they're in there if you want. So they're trying, but I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect solution, right? You don't want to you don't want to buy a home and then be dictated with what package you can buy. You want to be able to go, if I want purple cabinets, I want purple cabinets. I mean, they don't offer purple cabinets, but you can paint them. But you know what I mean? It's like, if you want something that's very unique and specific and taste specific to you, you want to be able to spend that money and do that if you want. But at the same time, then people get mad because they're like, well, that's just so ridiculous. I had to spend that much money. So the builders are at a very difficult place, right? They can't please everyone. So all they can do is try. And they are trying. So with that, I'll move on. All right. So let's see what some of your other ones are. I love that you guys have so much to say this morning. Gary says, I spent $20,000 on the floor and I didn't expect it to be that much. Yep. Sydney, years back when I built in the Poconos, rude building in the Poconos. Oh, I love you. I'm just kidding. Years back when I built in the Poconos, ceiling lights were only included in the kitchen, dining room, laundry room, bathrooms, and family room. Yeah, you know what, Sydney? You're going to be surprised to hear the same is true for some builders here. There's usually always, excuse me, there's usually always wiring or pre-wiring. It may be capped off, but there's usually pre-wiring for the center light or a ceiling fan, something like that. But it's not always included. Sometimes they do the little mushroom lights up there. Sometimes it's just capped off and then they do the half hot. So yeah, it is interesting. And again, that's builder to builder. So you always want to make sure you have a good idea and an understanding of what people are doing. Oh, Elizabeth can hear Easton. So, all right. So let's move on. I got some other things to talk about. I did this one. Let's do word.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay, backup offers. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about. I know the word has become words plural, but I can't go back and change the opening, so we're just going to go with it. All right, backup offers. And what does that really mean? And the reason I'm going over this is because there is, when we have a listing and we have it go under contract, it goes pending, and we make that adjustment in the MLS, there is a little box that we can check that says accepting backup offers. So you can check that, and then as soon as you check that box, and again, this is our MLS, this is where we are, it's how it works for us. But we have the ability to say that we're accepting backup offers. Now, what that means is the home still goes pending. So it's not going to show up. So let's say this lovely family from Utah is looking for houses, and they've been set up on a property search by their realtor. So they're receiving all of the information of these new homes that are active. Oh, this home just came on the market. This home just came on the market. This is a wonderful new home. Once a home goes pending, they're not going to continue to receive information about that home because it's now technically no longer an option because it's pending. So backup offers really is almost always going to be in a scenario in which, and I had some clients that considered this, they knew that there was a home that they had seen. They liked it. They kind of wanted it. They just didn't get to it in time. And it went pending. They looked at other houses. They kept coming back to that one. They're like, oh, Amy, we just like that one. It's pending. What can you find out? It says it's accepting backup offers. And I'm like, well, usually when a realtor sets the listing as accepting backup offers. Maybe there's something that they're concerned with in the offer. Maybe there was a contingency in there. Maybe it was a financing thing that they thought might be a bit of a challenge, and so they just wanted to make sure that they entertained other offers if any other offers came in. But again, is anyone being sent that listing? No, because it's pending. But if you already knew that listing existed, or if it was one that had been on your property search before and you had noted it down as one of your favorites, and then you go back to that address and you see that it's pending, then you as a buyer, you can say, as my clients did to me, can we submit a backup offer? Now, in that situation, I called the listing agent and I said, hey, I know your home on blah, blah, blah is pending, but I do have some clients that are interested. They've been in the house before. They live in the neighborhood. We've been looking for other houses. They really like this one. It says you're accepting backup offers. So I was just checking to see how tight your offer is. Are you through inspection? Are you through appraisal? How close are we getting to? Because the closing was extended a little bit too. Because we do know when the expected closing date is in the MLS. But the other terms I don't necessarily know. And she said, oh, you know what? It's a cash deal. I need to take that out of the MLS because we're not accepting backup offers anymore because it's cash. We're through everything. So we're headed to closing. Okay, good. So backup offers. So should you submit one or should you ask for them? You can, but I wouldn't put all of your eggs in that one basket. If you are like desperate to get a house, then you want to focus on the ones that are actually active and are available for sale. If there is a home that you just really, really like and boy, you wish you could get it and they're accepting backup offers, then sure, there's no harm in it. There's no harm in submitting the offer. It just means that they're legally under contract with somebody else. So something else has to fall through and be detrimental to that legal binding contract that has been signed by all parties before your offer will be able to be entertained. Because what you can't have happen is you submit the offer and then the seller go, oh, I like this offer better. I know we're legally under contract over here, but I want to breach that contract and I want to like scratch them out and take these new people. Those are the things that you can't do. So I would say it doesn't hurt to say you're accepting backup offers, but as a seller, do not have the expectation that your home is still going to be shown because very few people are still going to want to see it because it's pending. And as a buyer, if you are submitting a backup offer, don't hold your hopes up that you're going to get the home because a lot of things have to fall through first before yours would be considered. Meanwhile, you may be losing a home that is perfect for you that's actually available right then that you could secure. So anyway, I thought that was good because I had a couple of situations come up referencing that. So anyway, all right, let's move on. Got some more things. Do I have this? Do I have this? Okay, this is a big week, guys. This is Elsie's first birthday. We just had Easton's, and for those of you that have been with us for a long time, you remember us. I think Allie and I, we were talking about the other day, about a year ago, this is when things were going cuckoo crazy. Elizabeth's getting ready to go have a baby, and that was the time I think Eric did coffee time, and I joined in from the hospital room early in the morning, but obviously Elizabeth was the focus that day. But yeah, that's where we are. We're approaching that. So happy birthday to little Miss Elsie coming up here in the next couple of days. We're going to have a nice little celebration, little slim pickings around here, but we're going to have some fun with little Elsie May. So super excited about that. So happy almost birthday, Elsie. Mimi loves you. All right, critters. Look at this. So on that note, so where Elizabeth is in that neighborhood, they have crazy numbers of peacocks. So that might not be something that you would think you're going to have in Florida, but you do. I remember when I first moved here, true story, one of my friends, her name was Jen. I have a lot of Jen friends, Jen, Jennifer, Jenny. But our boys played soccer together, and she became one of my first and best friends here. Because I just took a book to read at soccer practice because I didn't know anybody and I'm kind of an introvert. So I wasn't like making myself known to everybody. And Eric was traveling for work. So it was just me. And I was sitting there reading a book, and then she came over and asked about the book. And then we got to talking about books, and then we were reading books, and then we were going to the gym together. Anyway, she had commented one day, yes, sir, I hear you. She had commented one day about peacocks in her neighborhood. And I was just I heard it, I processed it, and I thought it was weird, and I let it go. But it wasn't until I'd lived here a little bit longer that I realized that there are peacocks in a lot of these neighborhoods and a lot of these communities. Just like we talk about the sand cranes, just kind of welcome themselves up to your front porch or into your backyard. Peacocks are also just as brave. They will walk into your front yard, into your backyard. They will actually fly up to like the top of your car, sometimes even up to your roof line. But it is beautiful to see them. And so anytime I'm in that area, it's funny how much I see those peacocks everywhere, and it's kind of an extra little treat. You may not have expected to see peacocks here in Florida. You know, you think alligators, right? You think just alligators and creepy crawlies and snakes, but we also have some beautiful creatures here too, like the peacock. So thank you, Elizabeth, for sending us that picture. By the way, if you live in Florida and you find some crazy cuckoo critters, feel free to send it and we'll put it on here too. Okay. Oh, Elizabeth says that she is currently building one of Elsie's presents. Oh, that's exciting. Have to find out what that's all about. All right, let me see if I have anything. Oh, I do have something else. Hold on. Where is it? Secret. Okay. Oh, new listings on the way. No, that's not what I wanted to see. What did I want to see, Allie? Scoop. Oh, never mind. Forget. Well, I do have new listings on the way, but that was from last week. Hold on. Scoop. It's Scoop. Okay, so it was the scoop. It was not a secret. So I am so excited. By the way, I want to thank Leslie for sending these pictures. You know, I was with Leslie the other day. We were chatting. We were going through some work stuff, talking about process and procedure and just getting everything kind of up and running for welcoming Leslie to part of the Heart and Home Orlando family from the business realtor side of things. And I was telling her, first of all, this is called Agave Bandido. This is a new restaurant that is, you can see it is up. And oh my gosh, every time, well, first of all, the reason I see it all the time is because it's across the street from the McDonald's that I go to all the time in Hamlin. Okay, so this is a beautiful front. I mean, I think the frontage is amazing. Now, obviously, it's very graphic. It's very bold, big, vibrant colors. You've got the big skeleton, the whole thing. But the vibe is so cool. And we've been watching it being built for a while now. But now that the front exterior is painted and is just absolutely spectacular, I had mentioned to Leslie, I was like, you know, one of the things that's frustrating is that because I am so busy, the little things that I don't have time for, the little things that when I had Eric helping was that we could pull over and snap a picture. Easton Lamb. We're live. We're doing a live stream here, sir. We're doing a live stream. He's so stinking cute. I can't stand it. Okay. But when I was talking to Leslie, I was like, you know, it's little things like that I need to pull over. I need to snap a picture because I want to share it with you because it's so beautiful. And sure enough, I woke up the next morning and she'd sent me a bunch of pictures. So Leslie, thank you for sending those because that's the, you know, that's not the only help I need, but those little things make a huge difference and helps us quite a bit here to share some of the progress of all the things that are happening here. And on that note, I have another little bit of info I'm going to share. I'll talk a little bit more about it next week because it is time for us to, oh my goodness gracious, look at this. While I've been sitting here, I have 6 text messages and a DocuSign that was signed. Oh, this is why I need Leslie. Anyway, what I wanted to share with you is another Pulte community in Winter Garden that is getting ready to open up. We talked about it a long, long time ago because it was just in the very, very beginning stages. I don't know where it is now, but I will talk about it next week. Winter Grove. I don't know. I'll tell you about it. But it's close to Winter Garden Village, and it's close to Bradford Creek. If you know that area, so if you know that area where the Cracker Barrel is in the area of Winter Garden, where Fowler's Grove, Winter Garden Village, that whole area, if you know where I'm talking about. If not, that's okay. We'll talk about it more next week in detail. But that community is now kind of getting up and running. And I think it's only like an 87 home community with Pulte. It is Winter Garden. It is not technically Horizon West, but it is a great location. It is in Winter Garden. So if you're interested, we'll be talking about that a little bit next week. Okay. All right. I'm going to double check and see if there was anything going on. Allie, did you notice any questions? Oh, he said breaking news. Oh, that was cute, Elizabeth. right, let me make sure. Did I see any questions here? By the way, don't forget to ask me questions. Okay, yep, I think I answered those questions. All right, so guys, so first of all, I want to go back one more time and tell you how much I appreciate you guys. I want to make sure that I remind you that I am still here. Yes, I am moving out of this house. Yes, you understand the reasons why. It's a very difficult place to be without my love. And so I have to figure out my next little chapter that's just for me. And so that's what I'm doing. And I share a lot with you guys, but there's certain things that I'm going to kind of try to keep private in this next little chapter. But I'm here. I'm not going anywhere as far as being able to work with you. And I have added Leslie, and she's going to be my right arm here. And so she's going to make sure that if I'm not available for whatever reason, if I'm in 15 places at once, she can be in the 16th for me. Anyway, so thank you for that. I can't wait for you to meet her well, I say in person, but maybe one day I'll have her here with coffee time with me. But anyway, on that note, remember how much we appreciate you guys. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, I love you. And happy house hunting. Bye, guys. I'll see you next. Do I see you next week? Yeah, I see you next week. Cross your fingers. Wish me luck. Take 2. Wish me luck. Cross your fingers for next week because I may be doing this solo and I am petrified. So with that, I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. All right, bye guys. Love you.